So I'm Planet Mosh here, and we're here with Barney from Napalm Death. Welcome to the TID, mate.
Yeah, thanks very much.
It's
been a while.
Yeah. It has, yeah. You've played before. You said we.
Yeah, it was a long time. I don't, mate. I tried to think back. I couldn't remember. I like to guess. Probably say 15 years ago.
Really?
It's been a while.
Wow.
But this place is no different at all.
No. Better look at paint on the walls.
Yeah.
You know, so Tommy Vance once said in 1990 for Slayer, to play that fast, you've got to be as precise as a fighter pilot. And I think this is the same statement towards you guys as well.
I would disagree with that. We're not a precision band, you know. For us, it's all about the kind of spontaneous messiness of it. So, you know, I don't pretend or aspire to be a metronomic musician. I like making noise. That's what I do. That's what we do, you know. So, you know, any worries about being precise are not present in this band. Let me tell you that.
It's a beautiful noise.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful noise. What's it like getting interviewed again face to face? So I know you did some Zoom stuff.
Yeah, I've done a few things. Yeah, I mean, you know, I don't really think about it, to be honest. It's, you know, I still do a lot of. It's become a thing now. I think that Zoom's interview stuff will be there now. Because, well, it's good, you know, because you can talk to people across the other side of the world and do it that way, you know. So yeah, I mean, the Skype thing's obviously that's been on for a long time, you know, that kind of interview, but with the Zoom, you know, the video thing and stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's all part of the thing, yeah. So
I'm just going to reel off a couple of facts here as to why these guys, in my eyes, are such an important band for the last 40 years, isn't it? Really, since you started.
God, when I mean, 81 when Napalm was the first.
Years,
41 years this year.
It's incredible. Listen to this. 16 studio albums. Correct me if I'm wrong here, by the way.
You know better than me, mate. So whatever you've got written there is probably a better idea than what I've got.
I've got 16 studio albums, 6 live albums, 21 EPs, the 7th best-selling death metal band in the US. Yeah,
I mean, that's kind of, to me, is like, okay.
The second album from Slayer to Obliteration made Rolling Stone's 100 Greatest Metal Albums at number 59.
Yeah, it's weird, those last couple of facts, because I don't really consider us a metal band. I never have done, no. You know, but we get kind of drawn into that, which is fine, you know. But metal's only one aspect of Napalm Death. This is definitely in there, but it's amongst a raft of other stuff. Obviously, punk and hardcore, I guess post-rock, if you want to call it that. Industrial, you know, which is a wide spectrum, but lots of that. So yeah, you know, it's mad really that we get called a metal band, because I would suggest that we're quite far removed from most of the metal, very metal, you know, very easily definable metal stuff.
Grindcore, I call it.
Of course, like sort of being pedantic about, you know, descriptions of genres of music is a little petty, some might say, but yeah, to me, it kind of, yeah, it sort of makes me think a little bit, you know. Metal band.
No, yeah, I don't like the word metal.
Yeah.
I listen to this.
That's all subjective, though.
500,000 albums sold.
That I did not know. You know, I don't keep count like that, you know.
And 20 million streams listened to.
Yeah, again, you
it's
know.
unbelievable, isn't it, really?
Yeah, I mean, I just, honestly, mate, the stats, I never really think about, you know, it's like, it sounds kind of obvious, but for me, it's just the creative consideration, what we can do next with any aspect of the band is what's most important to me. All the stats like that, yeah, I mean, it's when you think about it, it's like blinding, you know, but I don't really think about that stuff very often.
Talking of gigs, I mean, I was watching a few of yours last night. The energy on stage is like, Jesus Christ. How do you keep going? How do you prepare?
I don't, mate. It's just kind of like flicking a light switch. It
Really?
just comes on, you know. Yeah. I mean, you know, the only thing you can do is try and look after yourself and stay as fit as you can. You know. I mean, a lot of people go, you know, whatever, you know. But it's like, it really is. You know, if you want to, I really, whatever Napalm does, I want it to be the best it can be, and that includes all areas of the band. And you know, when you're playing live, I want to be able to, when people see and hear it visually, it's got to be like to the nth degree, you know, extremity, you know, noise taken to the nth degree, and that also includes the human energy on stage, you know, like that. I want it to be, you know, constant and consistent.
So when you're on these tours, you use that downtime to sort of try and get yourself ready for the gig, because you do a lot of reading, don't you?
Yeah. I mean, but I mean, the reading doesn't really prepare me for the gigs, you know. The prep stuff for the gigs, you might argue, is, you know, doing cardio, different things, you know, more physical exercise, you know. The reading stuff, that just, I think, the more you can absorb information, it just keeps the mind active, you know. So that's really, for me, the importance of reading, you know. But that goes for anybody. I think anybody in life, band or not in a band or whatever you do in life, you know, I think reading is a really, really good thing to do, you know.
Okay. Your last album, Throws of Joys into the Jaws of Peterson. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Where you think that stands in your catalogue?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I could give you a precise, you know, kind of coordinate for it in amongst everything else, but all I would say, it's just, as every album goes on, it's a couple of steps forward, while still maintaining the extremity, because for us, that has to be there. If that's not there, then it's not an Napalm Death album. So the real harsh, abrasive sounds is a bedrock, and then after that, it's like how can we develop it, you know? So it's not just, oh, you know, when people hear it, they go, oh, you did this stuff, like this kind of stuff, like 10, 15 years ago.
Right, got it.
We're always on a moving onwards a little bit, you know.
Contagion, the video, there's quite an important message in that, isn't there? There seems to be an important message.
Yeah, I would say it's not. A message kind of doesn't really reflect the gravity of what's being portrayed. It's a human failing, I would suggest, that people in the world find themselves condemned, you know, just because they have to relocate from one place to another because they're in danger, or they're starving, or there's some kind of physical threat, you know. Yeah. It should not be that is considered a negative, you know. Everybody's had to migrate at some point in their lives, and so it's like, why should it be that it's okay for some people to do that and not others, you know? And if we're not going to deal with the inequalities in the world, then you're going to expect that people are going to run away from things to save their own lives, you know. And it shouldn't be that they are victimised for having to do that. It should be the opposite. They should be helped and welcomed and made to feel wanted as human beings, you know.
I was going to say, your songs are really fast and technical. As a musician, there's quite a lot to remember. I mean, I'm a musician myself, but I listen to some of your things, I'm thinking, geez, right, how do they remember all that?
There's lots of layers of stuff under there, you know. But obviously for live, you have to adapt it a little bit. Obviously, if there's 5 or 6 guitar noise parts on a track, you can't replicate that live unless you have tapes. We don't use tapes or anything like that. The only thing we use, well, it's not even tapes now, it's like sample stuff. The only thing we use for that is like intros that we couldn't physically play.
Yeah.
So we use a couple of samples for that stuff, but everything else is live. You know,
so the process of writing, how does that work for you guys? I mean, does somebody just turn up with a riff and then?
The way we do it is Shane kind of writes all the music, and I write the lyrics. And I've always got ideas like written down for years and years and years. I've amassed like whole documents of just ideas, but they've got to be current, so they've got to reflect something we're trying to observe, that Napalm's trying to observe and comment on in the world as it stands. Because if it's not current, if it's just kind of a generic appraisal of something, then people aren't going to be as interested in it, I think. If you make it current, that's kind of the hook to get people in, because then people directly relate it to what's going on in the universe that they're in at that particular time. So that, I mean, and that's what we want, is we want to stimulate people to obviously hear the music and enjoy it, but also to consider the lyrics and do what those, as they will with them, you know, but hopefully cheer them over.
I looked at your tour dates last night. So far between now and 12th of March next year, you've got 80 dates there. But you've also got this live stream next week, haven't you?
Yeah.
It's an all riding. So, London Underworld, what can we expect from that live stream?
It'll be
just like a gig.
Yeah, it'll literally just be the gig, you know. But what it was, obviously there was a lot of bands doing it during the period of lockdown all over the world. But I didn't want to do that. I just thought that was not the Napalm experience. I just couldn't stand there in an empty room and just replicate what we do. It just felt empty, the idea of it. So at the Underworld, the guy that's promoting it has done these things before, and it's always about to take quite a while. He pitched the idea at us, and we said, yeah, you know, we've made the cost of it reasonable. It's actually £6 to watch it. No, and that's what we consciously wanted to do. You know, there are licenses out there that are considerably, in fact, pretty much all of them are considerably more than that. But you know, that's not the Napalm way. You know, we know there's going to be interest really far afield. So we're like, you know what, we've got to make this affordable for everybody as much as we can. So we put it at £6. You can buy like a bundle thing as well. There's like a t-shirt. It's a one-off t-shirt exclusive thing for £20. I mean, t-shirt plus a stream for £20. I would suggest that's all right.
Really value, isn't it? So, and finally, as a band, you look at things like anarchism, animal rights, and socialism, and humanism. And it seems to be that that's a really strong thing that you believe in?
Well, it's just part of being a human being. You know, it's not like a jacket that you put on that you take off a coat hook. You know, it's basic humanity, I would suggest. You know, so yeah, I don't even think about it. You know, it's certainly part of me as a human being. So obviously, I appreciate it's not part of everyone, you know, in how they consider themselves, you know, as a human being. But yeah, to me, it's just there, you know, it's just part of me. And the anarchism and stuff, yeah, you know, I mean, that's a natural flow, because I think so much of the systems of power globally are weighted in the direction of a privileged few and not the many. You know, if the world is to survive, there has to be equity. If it's actually going to survive, if the human race is going to survive, I think it's an absolute must that equity is achieved. And it's so unequal, the world right now, that the human race cannot be sustainable if that carries on. You know, so anarchism, I think, is a reaction to you know, the mechanisms of power, you know, which has to be dealt with, you know, the way the things that are done to people that don't have power, it's just can't go on, you know.
Which is what's going on now. It's some really, really important points.
No.
Anyway, Barney.
All right, mate.
Thank you very much, mate.
Always a pleasure.
All the
No
best.
worries, mate.
No, thank you.
Thank
Cheers.
you,
Cheers.